Hello everyone, welcome back to the next session of SAP Security. In this session we will be looking at additional information on authorization maintenance. The traffic lights we have seen in the role which we have created. If it says red, that means unmaintained organization level. If it is yellow, some unmaintained authorization field contents. That means something is not maintained properly. If it is green, authorization fields are maintained properly. So red means awk values are not maintained. Yellow means some unmaintained authorization field. Green means everything is maintained. Let's check in the role which we have created. Let's check the role. Go to authorization, go to change authorization data. So we have yellow here. Let's open this and see it does not have any value. So click this. Now it became green. So field name, if you click here, then it will fill with star, or you can simply double click and provide some value, or click here, it will become star. If you remove this organization values, for example, if you delete, and you can see the red mark. So if there is red mark, there should be some awk values needs to be assigned, which is not assigned. That means red mark. So say full. Now the red mark is gone. Now we have only yellow. When you create a role, it is very important you always make sure all these organization fields are completed, all the necessary fields are filled in, then the specific node in the role is green, so that you can avoid any issues in the future. So we assigned all, but actually in a actual scenario you just simply will not assign all. We need to check each and every object what it is exactly doing, then we will assign the respective values. So now we know what is this traffic light means. Before moving on to the next slide, you can see this authorization objects and the technical names. In sometimes you will not see this technical names. That's because you have to enable this setting. If you go to environment setting, say show technical names, if this is not enabled, then you cannot see these technical names. So you need to go always and you also need this, and you also see the name of the field, not the technical name. So you need to go select utilities and setting, show technical names, then save it, then it will show you the technical names. Okay, now we made all the traffic lights green. I will save this, I will generate this, then I come back. If you don't generate it properly, this will not be green. So let's go back here and add one object, then you will know. So I go to manually add, I will add one object, say okay, Now this is, we have added one more value here. I will not generate anything. Okay, let me save, only save. So I only saved and came out. If you see this, it's in yellow. That means you have a warning message saying generate the authorization profile. Until unless you generate this authorization, the changes what you have done will not be effective for this role. So you save and generate. Now you have this pop-up message that there is a open authorization. Say generate. It generated. Come back and it's green. Now if you go back again, when you click generate, you got this pop-up. That means there is a open authorization object. So you go back here, select this authorization object. Let's put some value there. So you put some value, then you generate. Now you do not get this pop-up. Back here. So this is the about the traffic light. Next one, you can see this inactive stage. Let's say we have this authorization objects which is coming from the SU24. You do not want to use that object. For example, this object, you do not want to use it. You can simply click here, then it will be deactivated. In this stage, that means this authorization object is not active. If you don't want this authorization object, you can delete it. But we don't delete this authorization object because this is coming from the SU24. Okay, this will be a problem when you are developing a role, that if you delete this authorization object and you go back after some time, you assume that we don't need some of this transaction code. So when you go and delete the transaction code from the menu, it will also try to delete all the authorization objects from the role. That time it will not find this specific authorization object which is relevant for that transaction code. So it may go and delete some another authorization object with the same object with the different values, and it can create a mess up. So that's the reason we leave this as inactive. So let's assume in a different situation that we do not want to use this, we don't want to use the menu, we don't want to add this transaction code in the menu. That is also possible. So you can add manually each transaction code and each object, because if you go and see, your transaction code also assigned as a technical object s_t code. You can see these are all the transaction code which we have added. Then if you don't use menu at all, then we can still create a role manually. We will see that later, how do we create a role manually. Then let's go back to our presentation. Then icons and legends. This you can also find it here, utility and legends. Yes, we've seen green means maintain all the fields, yellow means some fields are not maintained, red means some awk level values are not maintained, and this button here, this means maintain the field, maintain the field content. If you click here, this will open it up, then you can maintain additional field, class type 016 or something. You can also double click here and maintain it, or you can use this button to maintain it. Next one is view the contents. If you click here, you can view the contents. Here you have the display option. You do not have a change option. You cannot change it here. So the transaction code which you have added using menu, you can remove from menu only. Okay, this is a very important point, that the transaction code which you have added using menu, you can remove from menu only. So as I said before, that we can also add transaction code manually. Let's say I want to add a transaction code manually to this role. I don't want to be added into the menu. Then we can still add it. So I go to manually add this button. Sorry. Then I click this manual option, and my first authorization object will be s underscore t code. So s underscore t code. Say okay. Now I got an additional object called s underscore t code. Under s underscore t code you have an field called tcd. In this field I can assign the transaction code. tcd means transaction code. So SU53. So this is the transaction code I am trying to add. SU53 is added. Right now we have added only s underscore t code with SU53. Now we need to add all the authorization objects relevant for this SU53 to this role. So what we will do, we will go to SU24 and go to SU53 and execute, and see what are all the authorization objects which is required for this SU53. We need authorization role check, and we need user master maintenance, and we need this one. So what level we need, we just click this field value, select and field value, then we got the value. We need to know only the 03. I don't know what is the activity group, for example. Then I will simply say go to information and say what is activity. This determines which role can be processed. So if I don't know further details, you can go and check it here. And the next object is this one, s underscore user underscore auth for authorization, and next is authorization group. So we select this, you can see the details, authorization objects. Okay, now let's assume that I wanted to add this authorization object. So I will select this authorization object, copy s underscore user underscore grp, then I go here and add this. Then the activity which I need actually is only 03. Select, and we need to define which user group which we are going to see. So like this you can add manually any role and the specific authorization object for this, and the required authorization object for the transaction code. Now once I add, I will say save and generate. Now let's continue our legend. So we have seen display, then delete field. So right now this is only display, you cannot change it, but here you can change it, this because this is manually added. You can remove this easily from this role. Next one is delete. So once you deactivate some of these objects, you can delete after that. So if I click here, right now this object is deactivated. Now if you want to delete, you simply click the delete button, it will be deleted. You will say, ask you whether you want to delete, it is deleted. So this is deleted from this role. So like that you can delete. The next legend is copy, then inactivate, which we have seen. This is transaction for authorization object. This is reactivate and merge and allocate full authorization. So let's see one by one. Here, this one, where used list. So if you click here, then let's take some another transaction that will be far better. PM. Okay. Yes, underscore week. Click here. So if you click here, then you can see this authorization object is used in how many transaction code, this kind of information. This is very useful information to identify some of the authorization object used in what kind of transaction code. Then we know this is the deactivate option, and this is for deletion. This is to reactivate. If once you are deactivated, you think again that you wanted to use it again, then activate it again. The copy option is not here and the merge option is not here. That will come on the expert mode. That is, let's you go back. Let's say save. We did not generate the profile, that's the reason it is still yellow. Then this is the change authorization data. Here we have expert mode for profile generation. This one, when you click this one, you have different options. So be careful when you are using this. How do you want to, what action do you want to execute? First one is delete and recreate profile and authorization. What it will do is it will delete this profile and it will recreate everything from beginning. And second one is edit old status. That means existing status will be as it is, then you can go back and edit it. Then the third one is read old status and merge with new data. It will automatically read the new status and merge with new data. That means, let's assume that you added a new transaction code in menu, then it will take the old data which is already existing with the authorization profile and also merge with the new data. So be careful when we are doing this, it will merge everything. So once you merged, then you will not be aware this particular specific authorization object coming from where. So I will select the second one, edit old status. It's always safe, it does not do any changes. Now if you open this, then you can see the merge button, and you can also see this copy option. So if I say copy, then it will create a copy of this existing authorization objects. So let's say here I have, let's assume that we have an authorization object. One field is like this, activity 71, rest everything is same, and the second one is activity 01 and 24, rest everything is same. Next let's see the merge option. Let's take one example here. So in this authorization object, you see we have quite a number of fields. So let's assume we want to merge everything together. Then let's click. Then we have this 2 times. So let's see, click, then it will merge. So whatever the objects which is identical, with the identical values, it will merge it. So as I said, be very careful when we are doing this, because you added these objects using menu. So when you are removing this authorization or the transaction code from the menu, then this will become a complicated thing. So in general, when you are modifying anything which is in the menu, which is added through menu, first you make a copy of this role, then you do the changes. We generally will face this problem always. Whatever we have added, the authorization objects which we have added by menu, then we make a copy of this role, then we will remove the transaction code from the menu. So that we can try it. If even let's say I go here, I take one authorization objects from here. Let's say I have taken one authorization object. Now if you see authorization, this is become, sorry, I have removed one transaction code here. Then if you see this become red. I go here, you must save, yes. Now this is done something is updated, something else old, something is new. Okay, so we don't know what it is done. So in order to find out what is exactly happened, then you need to have a copy. So now let me go to the presentation again. This will make more interesting now. Now the status text. In the status text you have different text. You have standard, maintained, changed, manual. Standard means the field value has not been changed. Maintained means the value entered in the field which was delivered empty. That means in SU standard means there is the value whatever it is inside that specific authorization object was standard value which was coming from SU24. And maintained means that we have entered some value which was empty. In SU24 it was empty, then we entered some values. Changed means that we changed something. It was, let's say in SU24 it had some value, but we changed with a new value. That is, we changed. Manual means we have added this authorization object manually. And another status text after comparison. Thus after changing the menu, then we get new and old. Old means no field value was changed and no new authorization added. New means at least one new authorization added. So right now we changed something in the menu. Let's go to our role. You can see something is updated. Okay, this is old value and you have a new value here. How do we got a new value? Right, this is a standard value, this is changed, and we have a new value which is added. Now the complication starts. We did not add anything. I simply removed one transaction code, but how come this is added? That is a question. Again, if you come here, we have a new value again here which is added, but I did not add a transaction code, I removed something. So this is the complication. Actually it starts with this menu. So we need to identify all these objects. Let's say what should have happened, that we did a lot of changes in this during our process and we somehow delete this authorization object, or this authorization object was not added initially. In here what should have happened, for example this case, we had maybe initially it should have had 13 and 15. Okay, and the 16 was coming from something else, some another transaction code. It was, everything was merged together, then had like this was the old value. Then when I removed this one, the existing transaction code which had 13 and 15 and checked whether we have an authorization object which is on 13 and 15. So it says, okay, no, we have only something 13, 15 and something else, let's add one more. So it's got added. So it is little tricky. So always whenever you change anything in menu, you can go make a copy of this role so that you can come back and compare what was actually existing before, what was changed. So it is very, very important to do this. Okay, then the other ones which we have seen, this is manually added, means this one you can see it's manually added. We know this authorization object we added manually. This was changed, meaning this was the standard one, this was changed, the old one here was changed, that's the reason it added the standard again. Though manual and changed as well as maintained. The maintained, you can see that we added some additional values in the ones. Maintained means by standard it was delivered with no value, then we maintained a value. Changed means we already changed some authorization object, we have already changed some value inside. Let me assign everything again. Okay, again for the training purpose I simply assigning all, and this means this selection means maintain field value. If you click this, it will select, it will assign the maximum value star. So if I click here, it will assign star, it will assign star. So again for a training purpose only I simply removing, making everything green, but this will not be the case. You need to go and check each and every transaction code and see what authorization you need to keep it, what authorization you need to inactivate. So you need to inactivate all the authorization which is not necessary. Please don't delete the authorization object if you are adding the role, if you are adding the transaction code using menu, because as we seen, whenever you delete any other transaction code, then the system will check what all the transaction code existing in the menu, whichever is not available it will add it again. So it will be a complication, but if you deactivate, that will not happen. Now save and generate. With this we are coming to the end of this session. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.